Welcome back, everybody. What is this little guy? Well, this is all of your strike indicator dreams come true. Yes, this is part of the New Zealand strike indicator setup. This is one that I made, and I wanted to go through making one with you today. This, to me, is one of the finest strike indicating systems that there is, and it's very easy to put together. This isn't going to be a super detailed how-to, but it will get you all the info you need to know to make this and to use these. So let's get going. The basis of this just comes from a darning needle. These are pretty heavy needles. They have a big eye. That is something that we want. And what we're going to do here is we're just going to come in with some side cutters, and we are going to make a cut. And then I'm going to come slightly up from it and make another cut. That's what we got. If, like me, you got a little bit of bendage going there, just come in with some pliers and bend everything back to straight. Perfect. We're good to go. You can also do this part with a file or a Dremel or something. You just need to open up the side of the eye. I've done this many times. It works just fine. But just whatever you want to do to open that up, you can come in and clean this up as much as you want. That's up to you. So the heavy lifting here is done, and for all intents and purposes, you could use this now as is. But if you want to do a little more like I did here, you can come in and take a bead and apply the bead up here over the point. So basically what I did to achieve this on mine is I took some thread and I just started wrapping, and I built up enough of a thread base that my bead would wedge on it. Something like that I think is going to be just fine. Yeah, that'll work. That's enough. I still have my bobbin attached. I got enough thread on there that the bead is getting wedged. I'm just going to put some goop on there. That's what I've used for a long time. And then I'm going to kind of twist as I take that bead up over my thread wraps. The main purpose of the bead is just to give you something more than just the needle to hold on to as you're using this tool. You'll see why here in a little bit. This basically is the tool done. Now that being said, we'll go back to mine here. I took a little bit more time on mine with some additional thread wraps here. When I glued this up, I also inserted a piece of Beadalon wire so that I have something to hang this from. So I just wrapped that wire with my thread all at the same time. Do whatever you want with the build on this. Make it as simple or as intricate as you wish. So about this little green stuff we got going on here, this is about 2 millimeter long sections of pony bead lacing, which looks something like this. Now I'll post a link to where you can get that. It's basically a 2 millimeter rubber tube, and it works perfectly for this. You can get it on Amazon. It's super cheap. $5 for like 5 yards. Keep in mind you're only using 2 millimeters of this at a time. So at 5 yards, that's, I mean, quick math, that's what, like 2,000 plus of these. So it's going to last you a really long time. You'll probably hand it down to your grandkids, actually. So yes, you're going to need your rubber tube. What you're also going to need is some kind of strike indicator material. A popular one is wool. Traditionally, these would use wool. Another good option is just acrylic yarn that's used for crochet. It works really well for this because actually it's kind of hydrophobic. It does not want to absorb water. So that's a plus for what we're trying to do here. So if you want to use the acrylic fibers, just cut you some long sections. Set them down on a surface like a table or any number of places. You can use your leg, actually. And then get a pet brush. And we're just going to take the pet brush and just start brushing straight down along those fibers. There we go. After a little bit of time and a little bit of elbow grease, you get these really nice long fibers that don't like to absorb water. So if you want to use those, you can then just cut off that fiber and you're good to go. This works in fly tying as well. Let's get down to usage here. What are you actually going to do? Well, what you're going to do is you're going to take your leader, okay, and we are going to grab it in the eye of the needle, okay? That's why we put that little slot in there. And then we are just going to slide one of our little rubber tubes onto the line, just like so. And that's going to create the loop. Now you would take your fiber of choice, and we're going to put that in the loop and snug our piece of rubber down to it, just like so. Once we have the rubber snug down to it, we're going to pull both ends of our leader. And what that's going to do is it's going to pull some of that material down into our little piece of rubber. Now you can come in and trim this to whatever size you want. If you need a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller, whatever you may need. That's the great thing about this, is you can make this super small. You can keep it super fluffy. Whatever you need to do, it will slide up and down your line quite easily. And then you can give it another pull to set it in place. And the great thing is this system will not kink your line. It won't kink it. Now you can of course load this up with fly float and keep it floating all day. This is my favorite indicator, hands down, with the exception of a hopper dropper and using an actual fly as an indicator. This is the one though. If I'm just straight up nymphing, this is the indicator that I'm going to use pretty much every single time. It casts so soft, so supplely. Again, make it as big or as small as you want. All you have to do is alter the amount of fibers you put in here. Use half of this size tank and then trim it a little smaller. You have an even smaller strike indicator. But load this up with float and it floats super high, super visible. Colors are endless, especially if you're using this acrylic yarn to make yours. You have every color combination under the sun, so you'll find something you can see. Yeah, something as easy as a little bit of craft supplies, a needle, a bead, and you have something that not only is, in my opinion, one of the best strike indicators there is, also one of the cheapest. Again, this stuff costs you $5 for a roll that's literally going to make like 2,000 of these. 2,000. And then acrylic yarn, I mean, come on, if you do it this way, you can make bags upon bags upon bags of this material. So I think if you switch over to this, you won't want to switch to anything else. You'll love how cheap it is. You'll love how easy it is, and you'll love how well it works all at the same time. So thank you all for checking this out. Please like, subscribe, leave us some comments. We thank you all so much. Tight lines.